Woodbury County's new law enforcement center was scheduled to open September 14th, but LEC Authority Chairman Ron Wick tells KTIV that $70 million facility won't open on time. That's after he told KTIV back in May the September 14th opening day was, quote, pretty much set in stone, end quote. KTIV's Clayton Anderson has an update.
Law Enforcement Center Authority Chairman Ron Wick told KTIV the new LEC was not going to open September 14th, and he said he did not have knowledge on an updated opening date, but he says there will be pending litigation. Woodbury County supervisors are also in the dark about a new opening date. Tuesday, the board voted 5-0 to remove Rocky DeWitt from the LEC Authority Board and replace him with Supervisor Mark Nelson. The hope? To get more information and have transparency on the project.
The reality is that we are public officials and we want to be as transparent with the public as possible, especially on a $69 million jail project. And so there are things that can be stated.
DeWitt continued to serve as a supervisor's representative on the LEC Authority even after he stepped down as a supervisor to serve in the Iowa Senate. DeWitt says it's beneficial for the project if he sees it through. DeWitt argued he couldn't share many details with supervisors because of a lack of details the authority had, as well as legal advice during closed session.
So to repeat that limited info would or could be disastrous, as the meetings held under the section of code of pending or potential litigation. Any leaked info would easily be misinterpreted, repeated in error, or simply extrapolated to something that has extremely high potential for damage to parties involved.
The project exceeded the $50 million budget, ballooning to almost $70 million. The $20 million shortfall was covered with federal COVID funds, which makes the budget very rigid in the final stages of construction.
There are hard caps, and we discussed that today. There's numbers that we simply can't exceed, or the authority can't exceed.
While we know that the Law Enforcement Center will not open September 14th, the question now will be, just when will it open? In Sioux City, Clayton Anderson, KTIV News 4.
DeWitt asked the board for a written explanation for his removal from the authority board. Chairman Matthew Ung says that will be delivered to DeWitt in a week.